Hi, John. Welcome to the channel. But before you introduce yourself, I have to say this to the audience. Guys, if you need the latest information about Evernote, go subscribe to John's newsletter. It's where I get my information from, my latest news.
Well, you see, I get my information from you, Vlad. So,
Oh. So, welcome, John. Who is John? And don't worry, there's no timer here. Take your time.
yeah. Yes, no, I'm John. I do a number of different things. My job, as such, is training, especially around the marketing world, around marketing automation, that sort of thing. And I use Evernote a lot
Mhm.
in my training courses that I run. I also run a little bit of a productivity course for marketing
Oh,
departments, for the marketing world. Because their marketers are not very productive at all. They're just all over the place. Nothing is organized at all. So yeah, and I use Evernote a lot in,
so you
with
use it for
the
yourself
organized
and
team.
also for your business.
Yeah, yeah. I run everything to do with work pretty much through Evernote, or almost everything. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's and have done for quite a while, to be fair.
Wow.
But yeah, no, I mean, I run the newsletter, the Evernote newsletter, which you've mentioned, the Taming the Trunk, and there's also kind of like a podcast that goes along
Yes.
with it, which you were you were the number one on
Oh.
that, which was very cool. Um, yeah, so no, it's pretty cool. I've got a lot of ideas about productivity, a lot of thoughts about productivity in general. I like to. It's a place for me to get it off my chest.
Great. Yeah, I'm having a lot of new ideas after the AI-powered search.
Mm.
But before we get to that point, let me just get some context. Can you tell us a round number of the number of notes you have? Just a rough number
Ooh.
there, so we can have some
Not as
context.
many as you would think. Not as many as you would
I have
think.
13,000. What about you?
2,500.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just want that context because we are talking about AI and I have some thoughts about that.
I'm a really big cleaner.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
Really big cleaner. Yeah.
And
I don't keep stuff forever. I go through
interesting.
my archive folder and I think to myself, if I haven't looked at this for 2 years, then
Oh,
delete it.
interesting.
You know.
I feel bad like deleting if I feel like I'm deleting a memory.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I I think if I think to myself this is going to be useful at
Uh-huh.
some point in the future, then I will definitely keep it. But a lot of things, I mean, it's like bills for train tickets from
Uh-huh.
2015. Why?
But what if you have to remember something about that trip and that ticket will help you trigger a memory?
Yeah,
It happened to
mm,
me sometimes.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I can
that's
understand. Yeah, no, I can understand that. It's not something that I've kind of
uh
done.
interesting, interesting.
Mm, yeah.
But how do the second question before we start is how do you feel about sending your notes to a model when you're using the AI powered search? How's your feeling? Are you okay with that? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, I don't tend to store things in Evernote, or I don't tend to store things in any cloud thing
Hmm.
that could get
Okay.
me into trouble at some point. So there's no scans of my passport, or there's no personally, I suppose there is personally identifiable information, but there's not
Hmm.
an awful lot of information which could lead to identity theft, which could lead to, big problems if somebody got hold of it.
Okay.
So I'm okay with it myself. I'm all
Okay.
right.
But would you be okay if you had that type of information there? Tough question,
Probably,
right?
yeah, probably not, to be honest with you.
Okay,
No,
okay,
probably not.
okay.
In the UK here, there's certain like documentation which you can use to prove your identity, because we don't have ID
Okay.
cards over here. We don't have any identity cards or anything,
Oh,
and it's things like your driving license. That we have something called a council tax, which is like a monthly payment to the local council, and that's usually used as proof of residence, proof of where you live,
okay.
and things like. So I don't store any of that type of information in there, because particularly in the UK, that is can be used to create a false
Oh, I
identity.
see. I've been following your posts on our experts forum, and that's why I wanted to talk to you because I can see that you are trying quite different questions compared to the questions that I'm trying here. I'm trying more knowledge questions based on everything I have on Evernote. And I would like you to talk a little bit about those questions because yeah, I think I saw it today or yesterday that you asked for how to set up an alarm clock. How are
Mm.
those things going? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. I store quite a lot of manuals and how-tos and things like that. So that, like the manual for the fridge, the manual for the vacuum cleaner, the manual for my small clock, all those sorts of things are stored in Evernote. And as you'll probably say, you have the daylight saving. Well, it's coming up next month, I think.
Yes.
So twice a year you have to change the time on your clock, and you only ever do this twice a year, so you can never remember it. And like, it's the smallest clock in the world, but it's got so many buttons on it, and it's like ridiculous. It's like the user interface on this clock is like non-existent. So the question was, how do I set the time on my small clock? And on page 2 of the manual, which is a PDF, it actually explains how to do it. So the AI-powered search managed to find the note, dig into the PDF, and literally give me the instructions. I mean, it said to set the time of the small clock, press the mode button for 2 seconds, the minutes will flash, press mode to switch the hour and time, and adjust the button, to the correct time. It's just
So that's the phrasing that the manual has, or the AI summarized it?
that is actually the phrasing that the manual.
Okay. But even though it's amazing that it went there and found that information. Now, what is small clock? Is the name of the clock, or is how you called the
That's how
note?
I call it. That's what I call it.
The note.
The name of the note title is called Small Clock.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you having a lot of success with this type of search?
That type of search, I am. Yeah.
Which one? Can you give another example of? I've seen many of your posts, but I would like people to know about them because this is so interesting.
Well, somebody was asking about the Evernote note limit the other day, about how many notes you can store, and I've got the Evernote system limits as a note in my Evernote. So I asked the question, what is the note limit in Evernote? So the note limit in Evernote varies depending on your plan. Being 100,000 notes. However, for team plans, the note limit increases to 500,000 notes.
Okay, and since I know that page, I know that this was a different phrasing. The AI created that. Yes. This is a different thing.
This is different phrasing. There's about that much text on the screen.
Very nice.
It actually starts. It starts saying, this means that the maximum note limit in Evernote is 500,000 notes for Teams plans. It's important that these notes, these notes are subject to change and blah, 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 refer to Evernote documentation. Yeah, so it's it, yeah.
So what else are you using the AI for?
So yesterday I do a bit of work with a bit of software called CodeIgniter. And they have a library called Shield, which is like a user interface thing where you can log in, set up a password. It's the coding behind a web application, basically. So I said, how do I update a user in CodeIgniter Shield? And it gave me the full instructions from the manual on exactly how to write the code and what objects I have to call and all this sort of thing. And
That's so interesting.
Yeah. This is going to save so much time for me because I would normally have to go to the website, do a search, figure out what I need. Now I can just ask a question of the manual.
So here's a question: is this at least triggering some ideas on your mind to change the way you organize things in Evernote, or have you already changed the way you organize because of AI?
Not necessarily changed the way I organize, but definitely how I write my notes.
Okay, why is that?
So I haven't done any organization thing. I mean, I suppose that what you could do theoretically is just throw everything into one folder and then ask questions.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't like that scares me a little bit, to be honest. I like my little.
Me too, but I think that I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna do an experiment about yeah, because
Oh God.
I, I think it's, and you know what? I have the feeling that if we do that, the AI will be better than us
Yeah.
because I can forget to add a tag. I can forget where I put a note. I can forget many things. And if the AI is based on Evernote search and the Evernote search also searches the content in a note, oh my God,
Yeah.
the AI is gonna do better than me.
Yeah, it could do. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons like, you mentioned about tags. It's one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of tags is because you basically have to remember what tags you've got. And if you've got 300 tags, I can't possibly. I mean, some people
Yeah,
can, I'm sure, but I can't possibly remember 300 tags. So you don't know what to tag your note because you can't remember it. You've got to know what it is before you tag it, right?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
use them.
it is asking these questions of like manuals
Okay.
and how do I do something? How do I do that? I find that fascinating.
Yeah, I've been
Mm.
seeing your posts. It's amazing. What other type of questions have you asked, and how do you feel about those? Are they good answers, bad answers?
Mm.
How do you feel
Yeah.
about them?
I mean, one of the other things I use quite a bit is that for a lot of clients, I have a design sheet. It's like a style guide.
Okay.
And it lays out things like the size of the font, you know, what font they use, the color of the font, things like that. For bodies, for different headers and things like
Okay.
that in the work that I do. So I can just ask the question, um, what's the heading font for X customer? And it's absolutely perfect. It just gives me the answer.
Oh my God. You're gonna stop organizing, I'm sure.
I just all in one. Oh God, that terrifies me. That does.
Yeah.
I like folders. I like it laid out in folders. I've got lots of well, I've got lots of notebooks.
Yeah, I have more than 100, and
Not quite,
I,
not quite 100.
I also like them, and I think I'll keep using them. I'm just kidding, but I think I mean I'll keep using them to store the information, but I guess I will not go to the notebooks like I do nowadays. I'll stop doing that, and this is what I think is going to happen, not only to me, but to everyone that is using the AI search. And then if I keep getting the right answers, I think I'll be more relaxed and stop
Mm,
adding things. I
mm.
think it's gonna be something that is gonna take a time, a long time. But I think that if we start using it at some point, I think we're not organizing anymore. That's what
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
I'm not
I
sure.
think you're right. I mean, as you just mentioned, you don't go to the notebooks as often. I hadn't thought of that, but I don't either.
See,
Since this AI powered search, I'm not visiting notebooks anywhere near as much as I
exactly.
normally do. Yeah.
Yeah, because before the AI, I always thought that for some types of information, it would be nice to have a space that I can quickly go and get that information from. You don't store your documents. I do, so I have a documents notebook there, so it's easier than searching for my name or ID or whatever it is to go to that notebook. But and it's the case for many of other things that I store in Evernote. But if the AI starts getting the answers right, why would I have that notebook anymore?
Mm.
It's
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I mean, it is going to fundamentally change the way we take notes
uh-huh.
completely.
Yeah, I think so too. And also the way we collect
Yeah.
information, I think we'll collect more information. Like
Yeah.
you have the manuals there, so we'll start putting more information and more information there. And what do you think about the fact that the AI powered search searches Evernote instead of the web?
Oh, yeah. That's a huge thing, I think, because everything around the AI searches, Chat GPT, whatever it is, Bing Chat, whatever you use, everything is searching the web. It's searching publicly for an answer, which is always going to be generic and it's always going to be not tailored to you and as a person. This is literally searching your own knowledge.
Brain.
This I think this is more powerful than just the normal bog standard Bing Chat.
I think too. I recorded a video yesterday. It feels like I'm asking questions to my brain.
Mm.
Because
Mm.
it's like I'm connected. Something is connected, and I can ask like,
Yeah.
and that's another reason why I think that I'll never delete a note anymore.
Yeah. I mean, Evernote has always been about kind of like collect everything and stuff it in this
Yes,
elephant, and then you can retrieve it later. And even with Evernote Search being really good, it's still not that easy for, I would say, every single type of person
of course,
to
yeah.
be able to retrieve the exact information they want when
Hmm.
they want to. There's going to be a lot of people who would find it awkward. I mean, I don't mess around with those advanced searches with
Hmm.
brackets and colons. I've got a couple of them and I've saved them as searches, but I don't dig into that much
Yeah,
because I just don't want to be writing spreadsheet
yes,
equations.
that's complex.
Yeah, yeah.
But I had this client that he would search for the name of the person
Mm,
because the mo he was mostly taking meeting notes in Evernote, and he would write the name of the person. I don't remember if it was in the top or the name of the note, whatever. It has the name of the person, and my notes, my sessions with him would have my name, and he once was trying to show me something, and I saw him go into the search box, and he typed Vlad, and all those notes popped up, and he went through the notes and found the one. Oh, here's what I want to ask you.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah,
It's going to solve that problem, isn't it? It's just, yeah,
yes, it
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah,
It's amazing.
yeah.
It's so incredible. I don't think that word is concerned, but I, I really don't like the idea that my notes are going somewhere else. You told me that you don't feel bad about that,
Mm,
but I find it weird that I don't know if you watched the interview with Federico, but one of my supporters on Patreon had this idea to flag some notes or some notebooks that would never go to the AI. Uh, so you are absolutely okay with all your notes going to AI.
Yeah, I'm okay. I know the types of notes I've got in Evernote. I haven't got anything vital, you know,
Hmm.
that if, I mean, if somebody took all of my notes right now, they'd know a load of stuff about me, but they'd struggle to do anything criminal with
Okay.
them. To be
Okay.
fair, they might
Okay.
cause me hassle.
Yeah.
I might have to go and get a solicitor or a lawyer or something. But I'm they, they're not. It's not going to be at the point where there's criminal stuff going on. So
Okay.
I'm okay. But the privacy thing is really interesting, and I always talk to a lot of folk about it. When you go back to, like, say, the 1960s, right, when
Uh-huh.
telephones were, everybody was starting to get telephones in their houses, like it was in the 50s and the 60s and that, right? Your telephone number was a really private thing, incredibly private. I mean, the doctor may have it, the vicar might have it, and your family and your friends might have it.
Yes.
You wouldn't just put it out there. And I remember in the 90s when we all started getting email.
It was the
Our
same.
email address was very private. We
Yes.
wouldn't give it to everybody.
It was the
we
same.
would we would keep it fairly private. But now that's completely different.
Hmm.
That's utterly different. We're not Don't bother about who we are, what we are. Oh, connect with me, connect with me, connect with me, connect with me. Just that you share information an awful lot
Yeah,
more.
but some people have more than one email address, more than one phone number.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's kind
yeah,
of we still have some privacy,
yeah.
or we
I'd be
try
more
to.
worried about what social media companies are doing now
Yes,
than
yes.
somebody like Evernote. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I'm not. I just want to make this clear. I'm not worried about Evernote doing anything. I'm
Mm,
not worried about the AI doing anything. I'm not worried about that. It's just a feeling
mm,
that my notes are leaving Evernote. So that feeling, it's kind of when I stop to think about it, those things that you never think about it when you're
mm.
flying and you start thinking, oh my God, I'm flying and this airplane is not touching the ground. If you don't think about it, it's okay. But if you
Yeah.
start thinking about it, you
It's
kind
like,
of
this aeroplane weighs a lot. How is it in the air?
yeah. So it's more like that. It's not that I'm really
Yeah.
concerned about it. I'm using it all the time. But one thing I never used, maybe because I was always organized the way I take my notes, is the AI cleanup. Do you use it?
Not a lot, no.
Mm,
No. I think, Federico was talking about some improvements to it
mhm.
not long ago, where they're gonna add a few new little features to it, and I think I would probably use it a bit more when it's got some improvements to it.
So, but you try it once in a while, or you just forgot
Yeah.
about it?
No, I try it. It doesn't really do a lot.
Yeah,
I tend to write fairly structured notes anyway. They're
yeah, I
reasonably
think,
structured, so it doesn't. It just bolds things for me,
yeah,
and that's not. Yeah, that's not a lot of use, to be
yeah.
honest. Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, I forgot about it. I'm just looking at the note I have to now for the conversation. I saw the big icon there. So, oh my God, there's also
Mm,
another AI here we never use it.
yeah. I think when I think if there was kind of like an option to do like check my spelling and grammar,
Oh yeah, I
click,
think
bam.
that would be something that I would need, especially because I write in a language that I'm
Yes,
not my native language.
to
So.
automatic translation.
Yes, yes, yes. I've been seeing a lot of AIs that do that. I'm testing a PDF app that translates PDFs, and it's amazing. How do you see AI in general? What is your feeling about AI and the way people are using AI?
I think it's I think it's I think it's good if we use it to do things which are hard to do.
Hmm.
Um, and the way I mean that is like translating a document from one language to another. If you don't speak that language, that is an incredibly difficult thing to do, right?
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
almost impossible thing for you to do if
Even
you
if you
don't speak
speak
that
that
language.
language,
Yeah,
it's hard. It's really
can be
hard.
difficult, particularly when you're dealing with colloquialisms and things
Hmm.
and the different meanings of different words and that. Um, so doing that, I think it's absolutely great. I think it's brilliant. I think one of the things about the AI that worries me a little bit is how much money is going into the research and development of getting AI to do things that are already really easy for humans to do.
Okay.
So like driving a car.
Okay.
Right. I know I'm going to upset a lot of people who love their self-driving cars, but I don't see the freaking point of it. I could drive a car flat when I was 17. It's really easy to do. There's one just gone past the window. Everybody's doing it. It's really easy
But
to drive
but
a car.
when you are in a highway, wouldn't it be nice to have someone else driving the car, sitting
But
there and just looking ahead of you forever?
I know it just makes us more lazy. It just makes us do even less.
No, I got you, but don't you think that maybe doing those things that we know so well how to do is a way to make the AI better, to understand how it works, and it's another step towards a
Mm,
better AI?
maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it could be. I suppose it's back to the old what was it, the moon landing back in the
Yeah.
60s where Teflon was created out of
Hmm.
non-stick Teflon was created out of the shielding for the module
And
going
many
into
other
space.
and many
And we
other
use that
things.
all the time now. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
maybe, yeah, maybe something like that. You know what I'm concerned about is what's going to happen to all the knowledge online, because
Mm,
if the AI is reading from what we have online today, and a lot of people are creating all this new information based on AI, and then AI will read that, and then we have a feedback loop, a forever feedback loop. I'm a little concerned about that. I don't
mm,
know if that makes sense, but I'm a little when
yeah.
how new things will pop up now if we are in this loop forever. If we start this
Yeah.
loop,
Yeah, I think understanding the historic element of what it's creating, it's like so it could be pulling the first four lines from one article, the next four lines from another article, and then the final four lines from some other article.
uh-huh.
And you don't know when those articles were written. One could have been a journal from the 1970s, another one could be right up to date. And we're pulling all this. So we don't know if this information is correct.
Exactly, and that's another oh, uh, point about the Evernote searching our notes, because it's curated by us. So it's kind
Yeah.
of, it's not that it's going to be always true, but it's better than pulling out from
It
whatever it
can't
is.
really be wrong, can it, in a way?
Yeah, yeah, it can be technically wrong, but
Yeah, technically, yeah,
it
but
can be
not, yeah, yeah, but not the actual answer as such could be
exactly,
wrong.
exactly. Exactly.
because it's
Exactly.
taken from the information you've stored yourself.
Exactly. But what worth than getting parts from multiple articles that were written by humans, I think, is getting multiple parts from articles written by AI. And
Yeah.
that's I'm concerned about. What's gonna happen in the near future? Everybody's using AI for everything. I don't and I don't know. I don't know if it's a generational thing, but I believe that learning is meant to be hard. There's no other way.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Connecting the dots and understanding what you're studying is hard. So then,
Yes.
if I get the answer without going through the process, will I get smarter? Will I learn that? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a,
And even having the ability to learn, understanding how to learn in general is a skill in itself.
yes. So I
It's
think
not just watching a YouTube video. I mean, like, I want to be a doctor, so I'm going to watch 50 YouTube videos and I'll be a doctor. Yeah, no problem. I'll do that. Yeah. God, it'd be dead easy. But it's not like that. It's really freaking hard to become a doctor.
uh-huh. And even in small things, if you see artisans building those little things, and you say, wow, this guy's so good on this, and it seems so easy, and then
Mm.
it has a lot of there, and yeah, I
I
think,
saw something on Amazon the other day. They've put a limit on how many
oh yeah,
PDFs you can upload and sell on their Amazon
yeah,
store
but you got,
because they're
but it
just
was a
getting churned out.
limit, yes, per day. The
I
limit was
know.
per day.
I mean, how many books can you write in a day, Vlad? I mean, seriously,
Per day. The
a
part that it
day.
says per day was mind-boggling.
I think it was
How
something like we're limiting it to like 3 books a day.
per day?
Oh yeah. Well,
That's
start
crazy.
early.
That's crazy.
The one thing I found about the Power Search is it does struggle with dates a little bit and
Oh yeah.
times. Have you noticed that at all?
Again, I'm really using it for knowledge questions.
Mm,
I'm really using it. It's kind of what you're doing with the manuals, but I'm looking into the notes that I have about specific topics. So I started asking questions that I knew the answers. Like, what is this? What is that? So I could get a feeling if it was getting it right, and it was. So then I started making the questions more complex, but always about the what I call my knowledge base in Evernote. So I have all this information, notes, and PDFs, and sometimes books, and I'm using it more for that. I don't even use it for do you use it for the filter? Do you filter notes with it?
yeah, yeah. I haven't had a lot of success. Have
Uh,
you?
no, I'm not trying it because I'm so good on the
Mm,
filtering thing and selecting the item.
yeah,
It's so automatic that I forget about the AI. But for the knowledge questions, it's doing very well, and I'm really impressed. But one day I did a test. Uh, I asked for notes in a certain interval of time, a month, I think 2 or 3 months, and it got it wrong. It added a note that had nothing to do with
mm,
that interval, and I think maybe I don't remember that, but I thought maybe this is a note that I changed the note
mm,
date, so maybe that's the
mm,
problem.
maybe.
But I don't know. I just sent
Yeah,
the feedback to Evernote, but that was the only time. I was just trying playing with it, and that happened. So I thought,
yeah,
oh, something is weird here.
yeah. I did one with show me my Canva invoices for 2023, and I had an invoice for my tires in there as well
Oh,
for
but
my
what about
car.
the date? Did it get right?
It got the date right, so all the 2020, everything was 2023, but it didn't pick up on just the Canva invoices. It was putting other invoices
Another
and things in
invoice is
there,
there.
and every single one of the Canva invoices is is Canva invoice month
Okay.
year,
Okay. So it's pretty easy.
so it
Yeah.
should be. Yeah,
Yeah.
should be.
So
Yeah,
but he added just one wrong.
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
From what I remember, there
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
I looked at it and I thought, oh, my tires are in there as well.
Well, but it's still good, right?
Yeah, it's still good. It's still good, yeah. Oh, it's yeah, I mean, it's incredible. It's gonna change. It's gonna change the way we write notes, take notes, do everything. I've started describing things a lot better in my notes. So I've started
Yes.
actually making sure that Evernote understands what I'm talking about, if that
Yes.
makes sense.
Yes. I started doing that too. Kind of narrating, trying
Mm,
to narrate that to another person, like if I'm explaining it to another person, and like a journal, maybe like a journal, taking more detailed note. I started doing that too, so
mm.
I could have more context in the note to help.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
think we'll get better answers, won't we? If we, yeah.
sure, we will.
Mm.
Okay, thank you so much. Where can people find you online?
Taming the Trunk is the newsletter. Just give it a Google search. Taming
Uh,
the Trunk.
okay,
That's
I'll add
cool.
I'll add a link below.
And Triple T, the Triple T Productivity Podcast, which is they're all both connected to each other anyway.
Yeah, they are great. I love them. Thanks for
Well,
that.
the
Thanks for that.
newsletter, the Evernote thing is all about Evernote, but the productivity podcast is about productivity.
Yeah, but you are using a Evernote name for the podcast. That's not fair. Trunk.
Trunk, the trunk. Yeah, I took ages to come up with a name. I
Yeah,
kept,
it's hard.
you
It's
know,
hard.
it's hard, isn't it?
It's
Coming up
hard.
with.
It's really
I should
hard.
have used AI, shouldn't I, to come up, give me 10 names for an Evernote newsletter.
Okay, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Vlad.
Bye
Pleasure.
bye.